A YouTube person called FRF told me that there are surprisingly few AHA rankings, which means rankings of their studio albums from good to bad, good to excellent. Anyway, rankings are few and far between. So he asked me if I was open to the idea of doing an AHA studio album ranking. So yeah, sure, of course. So what I did, few rules out of the gate. I listened to all 11 studio albums, so not the live albums, not the compilations, not the singles, not the single edits, whatever. It's just the 11 studio albums. I made rankings of every song, Y for yes and for no, which meant yes, if I were to put it on an, if I were in charge of making an AHA compilation, a best of album, a greatest hits album, a Y would mean yes, this song goes on the album, the greatest hits album. An N would mean no, this song does not go on my personal AHA greatest hits. So a no doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad song. It's not just not one I would choose on a greatest hits or on a best of. I think that AHA has never made a bad album. However, of course, some albums are better than others. I have never written a single song in my entire life, so who am I to criticize 3 excellent songwriters? That would be very cocky. Great kid, don't get cocky. And then I just approach it mathematically. So let's say an album has 10 tracks, 7 are good. That means it's a 70% album. So here's my definitive AHA studio albums ranking from good to very, very good. Number 11, True North. Yes, this is their so far final album, and with the sad news that singer Morten Harket has Parkinson's disease, perhaps it'll be their final album. I had the pleasure and privilege of talking to Mr. Harket during the promotion for this album. So of course it's a soft spot in my heart because I had the chance to ask some questions to one of my favorite songwriters and singers of all time. However, that being said, I think True North is just a good album. There are 12 tracks, 6 out of those 12 would be a yes for me, which means it's a 50% album. Songs like Bumblebee, As If, Hunter in the Hills, Bluest of Blue, just not my favorites. However, that being said, between the halo and the horn, You Have What It Takes and Make Me Understand are some of the best songs they wrote, so don't write off True North. Number 10. Lifelines. Yes, this has the misfortune of containing 15 tracks, the highest count of any AHA studio album, so of course there's a mathematically higher chance of containing some lesser songs. And yes, this came down to a 53% album in my book. I don't really like You Want It More. There's a reason for it. Oranges on Apple Trees. Nah. Good songs, but not great songs, not AHA great songs. However, again, that being said, songs like Did Anyone Approach You, Lifelines, Turn the Lights Down, Dragonfly, sung by Magna Fuhr-Holmen, beautiful, beautiful songs. So you need Lifelines in your AHA collection. It's just not their best album. But again, not a single album is bad. I feel bad bashing some of these songs. Great album, just not their best. Number 9, Memorial Beach. Yeah, now this really shows the flaw of my mathematical approach, because if you were to ask me without thinking about it, I think Memorial Beach would be a top 5 album, perhaps even a top 3 album. However, because there are just 10 songs on the album, there are some duds. For example, Move to Memphis, one of their all-time best songs, perhaps top 3 for me, for AHA, perhaps their best. It's an amazing song, but they remixed it for this album and it's decidedly worse. So the single version on Headlines and Deadlines, the best of AHA, or just the single, the 7-inch version, is 10 times better than the studio, the re-recorded slower take on Memorial Beach. So I can't give a why, I can't give a yes to Move to Memphis, because we're talking about studio albums, so it's a no for me. This is really harsh. So Memorial Beach came down to a 60% album because there are 4 songs on here that I don't really count as a-ha's best. Angel in the Snow, I know it's a love song, it's a wedding march, it's a wedding song for Mr. Wachter Savoy, but I just don't really think it's his best composition. So I'm sorry, I'm not dissing your wedding song. It's just, it doesn't work for me on Memorial Beach. Between Your Mama and Yourself, not my favorite. But then again, this album does contain Dark is the Night for All, Cold as Stone, Lamb to the Slaughter, Memorial Beach. Brilliant songwriting. So again, you do need this one in your, well, you need all of them in your collection if you're an a-ha fan. And if you're watching this, I'm guessing you are an a-ha fan. But yeah, 60%. Sorry guys. Number 8, Analog. Yeah, so far the only one that's not available on vinyl, so I have to show you the CD plus DVD version. Very nice. Again, quite surprising to me because I love Analog. I think it's an amazing album with some of my all-time favorite songs. But again, because there are 13 songs, mathematically it comes down quite a few notches. So to me, this is a 62% album because, well, Don't Do Me Any Favors, Over the Treetops, A Fine Blue Line. Not my favorite a-ha songs. However, that being said, again, I'm kind of repeating myself here. Holy Ground, Birthright, Analog, Cozy Prisons, Celise, Make It Soon, White Dwarf. Whew, that's almost the greatest hits in and of itself. So great album. Just, yeah, it has the misfortune of containing some lesser songs. But you do need Analog. And please, guys, release this on vinyl. We need Analog on Licorice Pizza. Number 7, Foot of the Mountain. Again, if you were to ask me without this arduous task of ranking them, I would have said this was a top 3 album for me. I think this was a highlight of their comeback. An amazing album. Love the title song. The opening track, The Bandstand, maybe one of their best of all time and should have been a single. Really a crime that The Bandstand was not a single and it was not included on the Ending on a High Note final concert. A crime, just a crime. Bandstand is amazing. 11 out of 10 track for me. But yeah, Foot of the Mountain ends up being a 70% album because there are 3 lesser songs in my book. Sunny Mystery, Mother Nature Goes to Heaven, Shadow Side. Again, very subjective. This could be your favorite album of all time, and I wouldn't disagree. It's a solid album, but just not their best. Number 6, Cast in Steel. Now, this is one I hadn't listened to all that often, and I was quite surprised to find it ranking this high, number 6. Of course, I listened to it again for the purpose of this video, and there are 2 very good songs missing on the vinyl version. So if they had been included, this would have been a 75% album, so even higher. However, because we're talking about, well, my collection, I don't have the CD version of Cast in Steel. It's a 70% album, so 7 out of 10 tracks are a yes for me. Not the biggest fan of Object in the Mirror, Living at the End of the World, and Shadow Endeavors. However, the final minute and a half of Shadow Endeavors is really good, so it's a song that improves, but the first 2/3 or the first 60% of the song is not as good. That being said, Cast in Steel, Under the Makeup, beautiful songwriting. Even weird titles like Door Jar, which is a weird title, it's a great song. So yeah, I should give Cast in Steel more listening sessions because it's a 70% album. My number 5, Stay on These Roads. Yeah, their 3rd album. Turns out it's an 80% album for me, so just 2 duds or 2 lesser songs. You'll End Up Crying and The Living Daylights. Of course, The Living Daylights is one of their all-time best songs, but again, they chose to include a remix version on the album, which is decidedly worse than the single version or the single edit. So I didn't know what they were thinking, but this could have been a 90% album. However, with this version of The Living Daylights included, and we are talking about studio albums, it's an 80% album, but still a very, and I'm even fond of Touchy. I know Touchy is like a touchy subject with a-ha fans. It's they rarely play it live. It's not on the Homecoming Live in Valhalla from 2001 DVD. But I never hated Touchy, and I think it's a funny video clip. So yeah, in my book, it's a great a-ha song. Number 4, East of the Sun, West of the Moon. An 82% album, which means that I dig 9 out of 11 tracks. Just not too fond of Early Morning and The Way We Talk. But other than that, one of their all-time best. I mean, seemingly non-stop July, Rolling Thunder, Sycamore Leaves, Slender Frame. Wow, that's quality Norwegian songwriting. Great album, great. Not the biggest fan of the new logo. Could have been better. But if that's an album's worst or biggest flaw, I'd say we're in pretty good shape. Number 3, Minor Earth, Major Sky, their major comeback from the year 2000, and just an amazing album all around. There's 13 songs, which is quite a lot, and there's just 2 duds or 2 lesser tracks for me, which is Barely Hanging On and I Won't Forget Her. But that means you're getting 11 amazing masterpieces, so wow, what an album. Amazing, love it. Number 2, Hunting High and Low. Yeah, their debut album. I was surprised to see this ranking so high because, well, as stated before, if you were to ask me without doing an official ranking, I would think that Foot of the Mountain or Memorial Beach would rank much higher than Hunting High and Low. However, because we're doing this mathematically, there's just 1 lesser song out of 10, so which means this is a 90% album. And that's Hunting High and Low, the title track. I've never been, I know this is sacrilegious, lots of people love it, it's like a wedding song, but I just never liked Hunting High and Low. I don't know what it is. It's just, I have to be honest here, but I like all 9 other songs, so it's a 90% album. I just don't like the title track. I would have called it, I don't know, Living a Boy's Adventure Tale. I would have called it Blue Sky, but well, they chose Hunting High and Low, so the song must mean something to the guys, but sorry guys, I hope I'm not dissing one of your, what did Morton call it on the Homecoming DVD? One of the cornerstones of our work. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm dissing it right now. Sorry guys, sorry. Just it's my ranking. Sorry, 90% album, amazing, love it, love it. My number 1, my favorite a-ha album of all time, Scoundrel Days, and yeah, it's just 100% album. There's not a single crappy song on this. It's all crackers, no slackers, no filler, all killer. I can't even choose my favorite. Scoundrel Days, perhaps. I don't know, Cry Wolf, We're Looking for the Whales, Soft Rains of April. Also available on cassette and compact disc, yeah. Just a masterpiece. This is one of the best albums of all time. So hats off to you guys. I also love the handwritten title and the handwritten logo of the band logo. I love this embossing here, here as well. It's a beautiful album in every way. It's beautiful photographs, beautiful songs. They cranked this out less than a year after their debut, which is amazing if you think about it, because the second album is always very hard. You didn't have years to refine your repertoire. People are expecting something. There's a bar to clear. There's a standard to maintain, and they knocked it out of the park with Scoundrel Days. So I guess in closing, I can just say thank you for the music, guys. I know I'm quoting a Swedish band, and you guys are Norwegian, but thank you for the music. Thank you. We're not worthy.